Hi, this is Andrew Smith from Royal LePage in Kelowna. Over the next 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to go over 6 bylaws to watch for when buying a condominium in Kelowna. First of all, what is a condominium or a townhouse? The words condo, townhouse, or strata development are often interchangeable depending on what part of the world you're from. What you're buying when you purchase a condo is a piece of air in the sky, if you will. You own that, plus you own a certain percentage of all the common areas with everyone else who's in what we're going to call the strata corporation. So you own the air in the sky, and you're surrounded by other owners who own a little bit of the elevator and the lobby or swimming pool, etc. Stratas are a great way to live. They've traditionally been first-time buyers and last-time buyers, but more and more at second, third, fourth-time buyers who just love the idea of living in a condo. It's a different type of lifestyle, and it's really caught on here in the central Okanagan. We're going to go over these things, including age restrictions, rental restrictions, pet restrictions, etc., just so you're aware of what you're getting into prior to making a purchase. This should be obvious. If you're 30, don't buy in a 55 plus building. If you're over 55 and you don't like being around kids, this is perfect for you. You can move in, you're amongst people your own age, there's no crying babies at night. Yeah, it's just fantastic. They're often close to things like churches, grocery stores, doctor's offices. Locations are ideal. They're close to bus routes, and it's a nice little community within a community where everyone seems to know each other, and people tend to get along in the 55 plus buildings. And yeah, it's a nice time of your life to enjoy independent living. Rental restrictions should be obvious too. If you're planning on buying a condo in the hopes of renting it out and moving in 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, when you read the rules, if they don't allow rentals, obviously stay away. If you're purchasing in the hopes of maybe right now and living in it with the hopes of maybe renting it out in the future, but there are rental restrictions, stay away from these as well. But yeah, it's fantastic. If you do want to purchase a condo and put a tenant in it for the time being or later, it's not that hard to do. There's obviously screening issues and forms that you have to fill out, but they're negligible. And most times you'll find in Kelowna that you're able to put a tenant in. They're able to cover the property taxes, the monthly condo fees, and mortgage payments, and you can make money on these things. Then if in the future you're thinking about moving in, you absolutely can. But it's important to find out what the rules are right now on any rental. So if there's a 40 unit strata complex and they allow 20% rentals, if there's 8 or more being rented out right now, you won't be able to rent your unit out unless you get put on a waiting list for the future. Pet restrictions. If you have a dog lovers, cat lovers, oh my goodness, if there's no pets, stay away from these places. But there's hundreds of units in Kelowna that allow pets, and it's important to know where they are. It's important to know where they are during your search, so you don't even bother considering these places until you know what the pet rules are. Some people just can't live without a dog. So it's that in those cases becomes the most important part of the search, to know which buildings are available, which units are available in your price range that are welcoming to dogs or cats. Noise restrictions. People aren't too hyper about this. Every once in a while with some of the buildings towards the lake in the summertime, parties get a little out of control, but this typically isn't even an issue in our community dealing with noise complaints. Advantages of living in a condo or strata living is it's lock and go. Off you go on vacation for 3 weeks, and you don't even worry about place. You lock the door, off you go. The location is fantastic. Typically, it's living downtown or close to downtown is unaffordable for most. But if you decide you want to live in a condominium, you can live on the lake. You can live a 5-minute walk from the lake, a 5-minute walk from the hospital, downtown where the restaurants are, restaurants and shops, etc. So it certainly opens up a lot of options for people who just don't want the hassle of owning a house, or affordability is an issue. Parking restrictions, if you have 4 or 5 cars, you're going to have to make some compromises, but condominiums typically come with 1 or 2 dedicated parking spots, and almost everyone has visitor parking available. If you have company, they have places where they can park. Most people are reasonable. If you're having a party and you might have 10 extra cars, townhouse complexes will be flexible with the rules, once or twice a year for each unit. But make certain that you do have at least 1 spot, or know that you have 1 or 2 spots and where they are prior to signing on the bottom line. Smoking bylaws are becoming more prevalent in our city, where people don't like other residents sitting on a balcony smoking because the smoke might get into floors above or beside. So we're finding in more buildings these activities are being monitored, and there's bylaws against them. Some people, if you're a smoker, not so good, but more and more smokers are being forced to go outside and down the road a little bit for a cigarette and aren't able to smoke on their balconies. But if you are a smoker, make certain that you're aware of your rights prior to moving in, because there are buildings that won't let you smoke. Due diligence is critical, probably even more so for a condominium than a house. Finding out what the do's and don'ts are, can and can'ts. You find out what the rules are, reading the bylaws and the rules. The minutes of strata meetings will cover everything that goes on in a building over the last 2 or 3 years or so. And the financial statements are usually pretty easy to read. You can get a pretty accurate financial picture of a condo complex prior to moving in. Sometimes there's a lot of money in the contingency fund, and they're saving up for perhaps a roof or perhaps elevator repair or deck repair later on. Sometimes there's not a lot of money in the contingency, but they may have just replaced a roof. They may have just fixed the parking garage. So it's important to have an understanding of what's going on in the financial world of your particular building. Lastly, it's important to work with somebody who knows these buildings inside out. There's good ones, there's bad ones. Most are good. We don't have to deal with some of the issues that they have in other cities. But we have problem buildings in our city as well. It's important to know what they are. If you're going to be looking in those areas, it's important to know what the bylaws are. It's important to know the rules. It's important to know where you will be happiest after you decide to make that move. Anyway, thanks for listening. If you want to discuss this further, my name's Andrew Smith. I'm with Royal LePage Kelowna, and my telephone number toll-free is 1-877-330-5884.